Warning: off-roading is dangerous. Taking your vehicle off maintained paved or unpaved roads can be dangerous and costly to you and your vehicle. Off-roading can cause damage to your vehicle, possibly leaving you stranded or injured if your vehicle cannot make it out of the trail, and if you do not have cell service. Do not take stock passenger vehicles such as minivans, sedans, or crossovers onto 4x4 trails.
Good morning, welcome to Coulee Outdoors. I'm your host, Brandon Scott, and with me today is Nash.
Hello.
And we are doing something that kind of is how the channel started, but not really. I mean, it's the inspiration for the channel. It's something we really need to have been doing this entire time in the almost 2.5 years we've had this channel going, but we've never come out and done it. What are you talking about, Brandon? You do lots of things all the time. Yeah, well, there's this one thing that we haven't done yet that we're now going to rectify today, and that is going off-roading. So, a little bit of backstory. Coulee Outdoors originally began as Coulee Off-road when I made a Facebook page, a business page, to document driving around the what's called the Green Dot Road system. It's run by the state through the Fish and Wildlife Service. And long story short, I've cataloged how many miles there are. There's something like 750 miles of Green Dot roads we can go drive on. And it's mostly centered around Ellensburg, but there's some up by White Pass also. So yeah, because I was, going to college in Ellensburg and I didn't know where to go hiking yet because I hadn't been perusing the books, I just got on the internet one day, went to work, and what can I go do to go off-roading? And I found these things called the Green Dot maps. I will post a screenshot of where we are today for reference, so you see that. So yeah, it took 10 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever, of researching to figure it out. So yeah, long story short, it's a bunch of roads out here. We're in mostly the sage steppe, so semi-desert. A lot of the roads do eventually go into the ponderosa forest. This first trip we're taking on the Hanson Pond GDR will also. But it's mostly to cover, it's mostly state-owned, so it's state-owned land that covers the open grasslands where like upland birds and elk and white-tailed deer, and I guess we do have mule deer, black-tailed deer and mule deer will come out and hang out. So it's a way for the state to manage land and still give off-roaders a place to go and hunters access to large swaths of land without them blowing everything up. I'm not saying hunters and off-roaders are irresponsible people. It's just a way to manage it to keep people on specific areas. And they've actually put a lot of money into it in the last couple years and put up helpful signage at most of these trailheads, whereas when we were driving in college, there was nothing at most of these trailheads. So, Green Dot Road system. They'll be marked by white, like road flags, the skinny white flags you see along the highways with a green dot on them. Wonder why it's called a Green Dot Road. I should be making this into its own separate video
Yeah.
For intro. I can chop it. Anywho, so green dots, you stay on it. You can camp out here. The camping limit is 21 days. I'm just going to come out and show the reader board that they have now put up at the trailhead that was not here a couple years ago. Oh, it smells good with this fresh rain out. Anywho, rules. Motorized vehicles allowed only on roads with a marked green dot. So white flag, green dot. Limit camping to 21 days. No fireworks, no permanent structures. Do not cut down firewood without a permit. Do not harvest minerals without a permit. Cut standing trees at all. And if you want to have fire on site for your camping, it has to be less than 12 inches. You can camp out here, but you have to stay within 100 feet or less. And please use already disturbed areas, and if there are campsites that are more than 100 feet off of an established route, there will be a camping spur sign. Again, all this was not here when we did this last. They put up the sign for the Wayness area. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green dot areas over here, and then there's one which is called Autanum, which is up by Rimrock Lake. So there's 6 of them in total. This is what used to just be here. So you have to have a Discover Pass. It's the state recreation pass for state lands. I think also the Fish and Wildlife Pass works too, which you get when you buy a hunting or a fishing license, but these are like $35 a year and you can put 2 vehicle license plates on it. So yeah, other than that, I'm gonna come back in and we'll talk about what we're doing. So being that I started this page originally to catalog these trail conditions, there's obviously not going to be much information out on any of these trails, even on the state website. It just pretty much has a map. Sorry, I'm cleaning the dirt off the back window. They just have a map, the roads, designated roads, which They update the maps every May 1st, I think it is, and changes will be on there, so you have to download the maps every year, but usually there's not that much that changes unless a private in-holding landowner decides that, hey, stay the hell off my property, which is understandable. Anywho, so yes, we started this page originally to catalog these roads. We have done Hanson Pond a bunch of times. It is not a very difficult road. It's one of the ones we've done a bunch of times. I'll be using the off-roading scale. I completely forget what the off-roading scale is, but I'll post a screenshot of that there. So yeah, this is one of the few roads we've actually gone out and cataloged. So we're here on Manastash Road, and then this is, ignore that. So this is the mileage for the trail. 6.5 miles for the trail, according to Rex's odometer, which, if you want to argue with me about how accurate that odometer is, you can go ahead and do that. I don't care. This is my odometer, so your results may vary. Shouldn't vary too much. So there's a small creek, which we didn't write down. Then the big attraction for this trail is A, overlooking the Kittitas Valley down into Ellensburg. B, the connection with the Observatory Road, which takes you up to a UW, like a space telescope observatory. We'll be doing Observatory Road after this probably. I'll tag you when we get to the intersection.
That's the UW, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah. And then end of Hanson Pond, which actually gets into forest afterwards. So this is an interesting trail. It's not a super difficult trail. It's probably like a 1.5 or 2 on the scale. I think it's like a 1 through 5 scale. Most of these roads aren't more difficult than 2. Some of them get into 3s. It just depends. So yeah, I've got the other GoPro there. Again, this is kind of test mule day to see how we want to film what we're doing. So yeah, let's go hit it up. Alrighty, YouTube, we are starting up the Hanson Pond GDR. It is approximately 10:45. This is a fairly easy, straightforward trail, but of course, going off-roading, so I would advise you to be in a 4-wheel drive. If any of you hardcore off-roaders want to give me shit about my driving, you can go kiss my booty hole, because I am self-taught on these roads. This is the only off-roading experience I have is driving out here. So
now,
as you...
Is this first 1.5 miles from those signs?
Yes, it's from here.
Okay.
So you can see there's a green dot flag there. Do not go up that side road. Please do not cut this switchback. That is how you get trails closed. Please do not do it. I'm just going to run this for a little ways and talk, I suppose. And yeah, this is just pretty much testing out, seeing how we want to film this, working out the bugs. You know, just like hiking, it took us 6 months and then a winter afterwards of skiing to figure out how we liked to film for those. So this is the same thing here. It is not the prettiest of Ellensburg days, but then again, I don't think I'd want to be out here off-roading when it's 100 degrees out in the middle of July, especially when everything is snow-free. So the best times to come out here is like mid-April through late May, when it's still green out here and the flowers are out, especially the arrowleaf balsam root. But don't come out here too soon in the spring, because you'll get caught in the snow, like I almost did on this road. When we got to the observatory junction, I almost bottomed out in the snow. We just barely were able to get it out, slapping against the rev limiter.
Wasn't Riley out here too?
No, that was the time we had Alexei in the back seat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it also gets quite muddy when it gets very wet. It's not going to be wet today because it's barely rained at all. But yeah, the mud out here, this is all basalt country, so this is nothing but Columbia River basalts. And when they erode, they become very fine sand, very fine dirt and clay, and it becomes very muddy and very sticky. So So we're passing this grove of ponderosa pine trees, and the old field guide that we started, yeah, says Hanson Pond is 1.5 miles, and we just got past 1.4 miles, and I know the pond is right up here. So old information and new information is still agreeing with each other. There's a bit of a couple of bedrock steps to climb up that probably would have been good from outside, but oh well. And this first bit of the trail is kind of rocky because I think the state comes in and lays rock down every once in a while just so they can come in and monitor the check pond, and so that the birders can still come in and, you know, come enjoy the pond and hang out at the pond and see the birds. But after this, I think it becomes a lot less rocky. It becomes more sandy and gravelly and quote-unquote natural. So yeah, we're at 1.4 miles. I'm sure it'll tick over to 1.5 here any second. Polar-X over to the edge a little bit. I'm not gonna get super close. I'm just gonna get close enough. Wow, there is no water in this pond right now.
Nope.
So we'll just kind of, yep, there's 1.5 on the money right there. But you already saw some birds take off. And again, this is a pretty wide pull out in here. Plenty of space for a couple of cars to camp. When we come back in the springtime, because this fall is nice to be out here, but springtime's the best when all the shrub step flowers are flowering and all the wildlife is waking up from the winter. We'll definitely come back out here and shoot it again. So I'm not gonna do a long exposure here from this time, but next time we come out here in the spring I will, and I'll post that right there. Hanson Pond from the Hanson Pond Road, a nice big area both in front of and behind Rex to park some cars and hang out if you're a birder, or camp if you want to camp. There is a grove of ponderosa pines over there for some shade during the daytime, and we are heading up there. Eventually the road's gonna go get on the ridge line of Manastash Ridge and end up somewhere over there to meet up with Observatory Road, and Observatory Road stays along the ridge line over there, but that'll be the next video. And we should be able to at some point see the UW telescope, but I think it's further down over there. And then of course behind us, that big ridge line behind us is Ridge. There is another GDR up there. I'm sure I'll tag that later in the video too, because that's going to be our next deployment hopefully. Looks like we're getting some blue sky coming in, maybe. Otherwise, let's continue on down the trail. So yeah, we get past the pond and already the road has become less rocky and a lot smoother. Doesn't mean you go faster, it just means it's less. You can see the road just kind of snakes its way along up, and eventually we'll end up towards our left on top of the Ridge here, heading towards Observatory Junction. And then once we get past Observatory Junction, it drops down on the north side of Ridge for a ways and gets into some deeper ponderosa pine forest. But besides watching this little hill climb here, there's a couple sets of these. There's one really good one once we get to the actual crest of Ridge. I want to talk about it. How nice the sage step smells when it's freshly rained on. It smells so good outside right now. I wish we could have smell-o-vision. It would be nice. I just dangled the camera out for a couple seconds and let y'all smell this. It smells really good.
Rex is very happy just to have fun again.
Yes, he is.
So we're stopping here momentarily because we're about to get onto the crest of Ridge, and we're going to make a left and start driving westbound and go uphill. But I also wanted to stop here to show that there are junctions that you're not allowed to drive on. You can see this right-hand side junction, there's a sign. And if you can't read it, it says no unauthorized vehicles beyond this sign. And something about unlawful to litter, and then a Washington State Fish and Wildlife sign. So that's pretty much a service road. I looked on the map, it goes down Stone Quarry Canyon. It probably goes down to whatever the main road down on Manastash Creek is, which I believe is just called Manastash Road. So we're 3.5 miles in and we've made it to the crest of Ridge, and as you can see off to our left going uphill, there'll be a fairly nice little hill climb for us to do here, but I think I'm going to switch cameras for when we do that. First looks of Kittitas Valley along the Hanson Look at Ellensburg back there. Look at it. It's so pretty. Alright, so it's a bit breezy, but we're at the first observation point or overlook. And as you can tell, it is quite the overlook. I need to park Rex right where you're standing and get a picture and him. So, where to start? Well, directly down in front of us, that road there is Manastash Road, and it goes up the South Fork Manastash Creek, going all the way up into there. There are more off-roading trails up there, and along this whole slope is the continuation of the L.T. Murray wildlife area, and somewhere where the trees become permanent is where it goes from state land to, or state land on the downhill side and Forest Service land on the uphill side. So there's a whole bunch of roads in there in the L.T. Murray that we can do. You can see there's a road there and there's a road there. Hanson Pond Road is going to continue and fall off, whereas staying along the ridgeline, and eventually, if you can see it right there where my finger is the UW Atmospheric Observatory Station, hence why it's called Observatory Road. That is Babyhead Hill going up that. We'll be doing that here shortly. We'll come, God dang, this is pretty. So looking out further north, that's part of the wind farm there. There's a bunch more wind farm there. You might not be able to pick them out, but that is the Whiskey Dick Mountain and Quilliman over there. All over there, once you get past Ellensburg and into those hills over there, that is Nanium Ridge and Colocum wildlife areas. Those also are chock full of GDR trails, which we'll do at some later dates. So like I said, there's just in the state system that I have cataloged, haven't even cataloged for Forest Service 4x4 trails in Washington, which there are a fair few. There's something like 750 miles of these roads to go drive on. So there's lots of potential to go explore. So I don't think this is a quote-unquote legal road or trail to drive on, but obviously people are going to, because that's just what people do. But yeah, it's pretty damn good. This is between the pond, unless you're a birder, you're not really going to care about the pond per se. But you can see here's the hiking trail coming up along here. But it starts somewhere down there, and I think it comes up this main draw right here. So it starts, there's a trailhead parking lot somewhere down there. I think it's right there, kind of where those houses are. Somewhere in there is the parking lot for the trailhead. And like I said, Ellensburg is at like 1,500 feet, and we're at 3,600 feet right now. So you got to gain 2,000 feet of elevation and not much distance. But it is one of the few stereotypical first hikes for any college student going to Central Washington University to come do. There is the Manastash Ridge Trail, which ends right here on the top of Manastash Ridge to give you this gorgeous view of Ellensburg. There's Tandem Falls, which we will probably go do once we're done doing Hanson Pond and Observatory roads. You can see cars drive down here fairly frequently. I mean, it's a pretty damn good view. I don't blame them. I'm not gonna say continue doing it, but I don't blame them. But yeah, oh yeah, that's right, that's why this trail's here, because I believe it's maintained by the Boy Scouts Association. Eagle Scout Community Service Project, a place to rest, enjoy the view. Spencer Simpson, Troop 493. So the log, I think, specifically was put here as an Eagle Scout project in 2019. But yes, this is Manastash Ridge, and it comes up, I think the trail comes up from over there. It comes up from down there somewhere. So at some point we may come back and do this trail, the actual hike. I've done it before a couple of times. I don't need to do it now, so I'll post that. Let's try that again. There, if we ever do the hike. And then finally, we come stand over here Ammo can. I'm not gonna look. I'm gonna keep the camera away just in case something funky is in here. Oh, it's a little rusted together, and I guess I won't mess with it. But over there, where the clouds are rolling over, that is Hanson Ridge, which has, like I was saying earlier, has a whole big road system on it too, which is hopefully what we're gonna go continue to do later today. But yeah, so there's a lot of things to go do and see out here. And Ellensburg, I mean, it's nice. It's hot in the summer. It'll be 90 to 100 degrees in the summer, and then we're here in mid-October, and it was sunny, and usually this time of year it's sunny in mid to upper 60s, maybe low 70s, but today it's barely gonna make it to 60 because there's a pretty strong cold front and rain front rolling in from Seattle. So at home it is raining and 45 or something, 50 degrees, and so it's brisker out here at elevation. But yeah, and look, I find a wild Nash. Hopefully you can hear me over the wind noise, but that's a better look at Hanson Ridge. And then the ridge even further back is Clement Mountain, which there are even more trails, both GDR and Forest Service trails. But I wanted to get a picture or a thumbnail of Rex hanging out. So somewhere in here, hopefully, except for Ellensburg is on the opposite side of the hump. Oh well. It'll still be a pretty good. So there's the thumbnail. We're heading on that direction. I guess we shall load back up into Rex and get along, little doggy.
Bye.
All right, so we are almost at the intersection with Observatory Road, and I'm sure the camera is picking at least most of it up, so I'm just gonna angle dangle Rex here for a split second so you can see it. But going up over here is Observatory Road, and that is, I don't know where I found it, on an old forum talking about driving around these roads or something when they started closing them and thinning out what you could drive on 15 or 20 years ago or something. That is called Baby Head Hill, that whole climb, and especially after where that gate and fence line is, that right turn, and then especially that left to back to crest is fairly exciting. You will need a high clearance 4x4 rig to get up it, and I'm only about a 80% success rate going up there. There's been a couple of times where it's taken me 3 or 4 tries to find just the right line and just the right amount of throttle to get up. Here is this triple junction not triple junction, but a double junction with Observatory Road ending / starting here, and then Hanson Pond Road will continue in one of these directions. I just gotta make sure I'm facing the right one. So yes, Hanson Pond continues pretty much straight. I don't know where this right-hand road goes, but it's got no flag on it, so don't go driving down it. But yes, off to our left is Observatory Road, and we were at 4.6 miles, which I think that said 4.7, so no big deal. And of course, this bypass is here because it gets muddy here. This is where we almost got stuck in the snow, and because it turned into mud underneath the snow. So yeah, this is a fairly sketch spot. It is a low spot in a bunch of high areas. We're at almost, I know we're at least at 3,500. Let me check this. We're at, yeah, 3,450. So it will collect snow in this bowl and be here for a long time. So now we're going to climb up and then drop down the other side and start dropping into some really nice ponderosa forest. So up until now, Hanson Pond GDR has been only open sage shrub steppe gate closed. Well, there's no gate here, and I don't ever remember there being a gate here.
No, I remember.
I think that's left over from before they revamped
Yeah, there's
stuff.
the gates right there on the ground.
Yeah, 15 or 20 years ago. But as you can see, there is a green dot on a flag, so we are good to go. So now we are going into the Ponderoskia section, which for the last 2 miles, it's going to be nice ponderosa forest and theoretically a lot smoother driving.
It's so pretty! Oh my god, it is.
You or the camera?
Me.
Again, YouTube, Hanson Pond is a pretty easy trail. We've done it a bunch of times. I know what the road looks like. It's been a couple years, but I mean, it's still open. There hasn't been any weird stuff got weird, so it's a pretty easy trail to follow. So we're just using it to, aka, to pretty much get back into off-roading and to figure out how we want to shoot videos for this type of activity. According to my map, the green on the road stops here, and as you can tell, there is a sign there saying unlawful to drive beyond this sign. And they've got a nice little 3-way turnaround here, so instead of it being 6.5 miles, it is now 6.1, and we don't get to stop in that nice, pretty clearing anymore. That's a bit of a bummer, but I guess I will back Rex up to attempt to make this turn. And we'll go see if there's anything to look at over here at this clearing. But that's annoying. Yeah, bet it ends at 6.1 instead of 6.5. Take him out of 4-wheel drive so I can get better turning radius.
Is that a Fish and Wildlife sign?
Somebody's sign. Department of Game, so yeah. Well, it doesn't look very official, but according to my map, the green ends here. So I guess we will turn around over here. And this is a much more old and washed out sign, but that also says no unauthorized vehicles beyond this sign, unlawful to litter, fish and wildlife. Well, crap. We used to be able to stop at the edge of a really big meadow. And it was quite the scenic view. So left the forested portion of the Hanson Pond GDR. We had just passed the junction with Observatory Road, and we're coming up and over this little off-camber section where we get good views of the, I guess what we call that, the Overlook, where the Manastash hiking trail comes in, and we'll get some good views of Kittitas Valley off to the side. And if you're annoyed with the crack in the windshield, that sucks, because that's been there for like 2 years now, and I ain't paying for a new windshield. So, ignore it, just enjoy the views. Again, we're trying to figure stuff things out. I doubt the camera's gonna live there for all these off-roading videos, but who knows, it might. So yeah, we're gonna come up here, pull over up here somewhere and get a long exposure, probably have lunch. Other than that though, I think this is gonna be pretty much it for Hanson Pond GDR. I'm gonna say accessibility 3 stars, because we're 10 miles outside of Ellensburg. It took us about half an hour to get here. Obviously, if you're gonna have a 4x4 enough capable rig to drive this trail, you're gonna have no problems to get to the trailhead. Weather can be a factor. I wouldn't be out here in winter because there are a couple of hill climbs that might get you. Difficulty, if you stay in the Sage Flats and just come to this Overlook, I'd say it's a 1 out of whatever the off-road difficulty scale is. I know there's a name for it, but I can't remember. If you go into the Ponderosa Forest and go to the road's end, I'd bump it up to a 2, but still, it's not a very difficult road trail. 3, enjoyment. Obviously, it's going to fluctuate with when you come out here. It's kind of a scuzzy day, not super exciting. But I mean, the views are still great. You still got to look around anything, and the clouds are pretty fun. So, and you get great views of Kittitas Valley, as you'll see here in a couple of seconds when we get to where I'm going to take the video. I mean, that's pretty damn good. Like, that's pretty good. And of course, the views are better when it's nice, sunny, clear day out. You can see the Stewart Range. You can see all the way across the Columbia River to the Waterville Plateau, and you can see Rainier behind us, and yada yada yada. But you know, on a lot of those days, it's going to be July or August, and it's going to be 95 freaking degrees out, and you're not gonna wanna.
A lot more clear out there now.
Yeah, like I say, the clouds are doing all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, it'll be really fun to get this camera down right here. But yeah. So thank you for joining us on this Coulee Outdoors adventure where we went up the Hanson Pond GDR, our first off-roading video. Kind of another full circle moment for the channel. If you liked this video, give a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down. Either way, please let me know what you did or did not like about it so we can improve on it for next time. Follow us on social media at Coulee Outdoors, and we'll see you next time. Ciao. Bonus video time. I'm going to record this descent off of the high point along Hanson Ridge on the Hanson Pond Road, which is also the Overlook spot, and you'll get views of Kittitas Valley with a rain squall sweeping along the Wenatchee Mountains to the north and Ellensburg in the midground. It's so pretty! Just making sure knobs are locked down so this thing doesn't wiggle too much. Or self-adjust. If it wiggles, it bounces. It's whatever. That's one thing, but I'm talking about like it actually like changing its pointing location. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Look, Ma, it's Ellensburg. And rain. There's actually a bunch of radio stations in front of us. The one on the left is, I think, on the other side of the river from us, and that's kind of where I-82 goes up and around Manastash Ridge. And then there's the big gap over here on our right with Radio Tower on the far side. That's where the Yakima River goes through Manastash Ridge, and then there's one further along on our right that you can't really see. And that's pretty much the start of the Hanson Ridge Trail where it leaves the Durr Road Trail. Those are both Green Dot Road System roads. The plan is to go do Durr Road in those after we go to Observatory, but we may run out of time for that. So we may go find some other shorter road to do. I'll have to consult the maps. I don't know yet. yeah, we've got plans to get at least one more, hopefully 2 more, or more than that roads done. But yeah, this is it for Hanson Pond. We'll see you on the next one.